You wake up one morning and glance in the mirror. Something looks different. You raise your arms and flex, just like you used to when you were younger. But now there is a soft, sagging curve where muscle used to be. For many people, this is the first silent sign of a deeper problem, one that begins long before most ever notice. By the time you are 60 years old, your body could already be losing up to 1% of your muscle mass every year, a condition known as sarcopenia. And this happens silently, gradually, until suddenly you realize that everyday tasks feel harder, your metabolism feels slower, and yes, your arms have lost that toned, youthful shape you took for granted. But what if I told you this decline does not begin at 60? What if I told you it often starts in your 40s, driven by silent mistakes and biological shifts that most doctors never talk about? Before we go deeper, take a moment to subscribe. This channel exists for people like you, who want the truth, who want to feel powerful in their own bodies again, and who refuse to accept the narrative that aging means weakness, because it does not. And the more you learn, the more control you take back. Now, let me take you back to the first root cause, the food that may be stealing your strength every single day. It is not just the sugar, though, that plays a role. It is not just the alcohol, though that does not help either. It is something much more insidious. Highly processed seed oils, canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, oils that line supermarket shelves and sneak their way into almost every packaged food you eat. These oils are oxidized, meaning they create inflammation in the body, and chronic inflammation is one of the key accelerators of muscle degradation. They do not just add empty calories, they damage your mitochondria, the powerhouse of your cells, and impair your muscles' ability to repair themselves after exercise. You might be thinking, but I only cook with olive oil. That is good. But the question is not what you cook with, it is what you are unknowingly consuming in snacks, salad dressings, restaurant meals, even so-called healthy protein bars. These oils disrupt your omega-3 to omega-6 balance, a ratio crucial for keeping inflammation in check and protein synthesis optimal. So while you may be eating enough protein, your body might not be absorbing or utilizing it efficiently, and that is just the beginning. Because muscle loss is not just about what you lack, it is also about what you consume that actively works against you. And the worst part, these oils do not show immediate signs of harm. The weight gain, the fatigue, the flabby arms, they appear slowly over months and years, and by then most people just chalk it up to aging. But it is not just aging, it is biology reacting to a toxic environment. If you remove these oils alone, you would already start to notice tighter skin, better energy, and a clearer sense of strength returning. And yet this is only the first fix, because the second one is even more surprising, and it has to do with how you eat, not just what you eat. But more on that in the next part. Let us talk about something almost no one considers when trying to reverse muscle loss: meal timing. Because it turns out that when you eat is just as important as what you eat, especially after the age of 40. Picture this. Your body's ability to build muscle is regulated by a process called muscle protein synthesis. This process has a threshold. It needs a specific dose of amino acids, particularly leucine, to activate fully. But here is the problem. Most people snack throughout the day or eat small, unbalanced meals that never hit that threshold. They might eat breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning, have a small lunch at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and graze on light snacks until dinner. The result? Their body never gets the signal to build muscle. Instead, it remains in a low-grade state of maintenance, or worse, catabolism, where muscle is broken down to meet energy needs. After 40, insulin resistance also starts creeping in, making it harder for cells to absorb nutrients effectively. This means that even if you are eating enough, your body may not be utilizing it in the way you think. So what is the solution? Strategic protein dosing. You need to deliver a bolus of high-quality protein, about 30 to 40 grams, in a single sitting, 2 to 3 times a day. This stimulates muscle growth more effectively than spreading small amounts throughout the day. Add resistance training around these meals, and you activate a synergistic response that tells your body, muscle matters. Preserve it, build it. But that is not all. Fasting windows matter too. Intermittent fasting, when done correctly, can increase growth hormone and improve insulin sensitivity, both of which support lean tissue. However, if done poorly, especially by skipping meals or under-eating, fasting can backfire, accelerating muscle loss. You need to fast in a way that aligns with your biological rhythms, typically consuming your first meal within an hour of waking and finishing your last meal by 7:00 o'clock in the evening. This aligns with your circadian clock and supports optimal recovery. Are you beginning to see how all these subtle shifts can either protect or destroy your muscle over time? It is not about working out more or eating less. It is about eating smarter. It is about giving your body what it truly needs, when it needs it. And yet, we are only scratching the surface, because the third fix has nothing to do with diet at all. It is something even more powerful, something buried in your daily routine that could be shrinking your muscles every single day. But that comes next. You sit for hours, at work, in the car, on the couch. Modern life is designed for convenience, but that convenience comes at a cost. Sitting is the new smoking, they say, and when it comes to muscle health, that statement is not far from the truth. Your body is built to move, to lift, to climb, to resist gravity. Every minute you spend sedentary is a signal to your muscles that they are no longer needed, and what the body does not use, it eliminates. After the age of 40, inactivity sends a message: let it go. And your arms, especially the triceps, are one of the first areas to lose definition. Why? Because they are rarely activated in daily movement. You may walk, but you rarely push, pull, or lift. And without resistance, those muscles waste away. But there is more. Inactivity leads to poor circulation. Less blood flow means fewer nutrients reaching the muscles. It also impairs your lymphatic system, the body's natural detox pathway, which relies on muscular contraction to flush out waste. So the toxins build up, inflammation increases, and regeneration slows down. That is why one of the most powerful anti-aging strategies is not a supplement or a superfood. It is simply movement. Not just exercise, but intentional, frequent movement. Taking the stairs, stretching between tasks, lifting something heavy once a day, reclaiming your primal right to move. And yet, the most common excuse people give is, I do not have time. But what if I told you that micro movements, 5-minute bursts done 2 to 3 times a day, could trigger the same muscle-preserving effects as a full workout? Because they can. Your body responds to signals. It does not care if they come from a gym or from your living room. The key is consistency. The longer you go without resistance, the harder it becomes to rebuild. But with every small effort, you send a message. Maintain strength, stay alive, resist decline. Every rep is a vote for your future self. Every movement is a rebellion against weakness. This is not about vanity, it is about survival. But that survival needs support from within. And that brings us to something far deeper. A silent deficiency that almost everyone over the age of 40 suffers from. If you found value in this, do not let it slip away. Subscribe now, because this journey is just beginning and your body is worth fighting for. There is a silent epidemic most doctors never check for, yet it is robbing millions of people of their strength, clarity, and resilience. It is not rare. In fact, if you are over the age of 40, there is a strong chance you are affected. The culprit? vitamin D deficiency. You might think, that's just about bones, right? No, it is about everything. Vitamin D is not a vitamin in the traditional sense. It is a hormone, one that regulates more than 2,000 genes in the human body. It affects immune health, mental stability, inflammation, and, critically, muscle function. Without adequate vitamin D, your muscles become weaker, coordination suffers, and fatigue sets in more rapidly. Even if you exercise, even if you eat right, a deficiency in vitamin D can neutralize your efforts. What makes this worse is that after 40 years old, your body's ability to synthesize vitamin D from sunlight decreases. Add to that indoor lifestyles, sunscreen, and northern climates, and you have a perfect storm of depletion. But it gets even worse. Low vitamin D levels increase cortisol, the stress hormone that breaks down muscle tissue and promotes fat storage, especially around the arms and midsection. So not only are you getting weaker, you are also getting softer. And most standard blood tests set the threshold for deficiency far too low. They say anything above 30 nanograms per milliliter is fine. But the truth is, for optimal muscle and immune function, you need to be in the range of 50 to 70 nanograms per milliliter. That is the sweet spot. So what do? First, get tested, but do not settle for normal. Demand optimal. Second, supplement wisely. Vitamin D3 is the form your body recognizes best, and it should be paired with vitamin K2 to ensure calcium is directed into the bones and not the arteries. Third, combine your supplementation with healthy fats, like those from pastured eggs or wild-caught salmon, to increase absorption. And lastly, get outside. Even 15 minutes of direct sun exposure on your skin in the early morning can begin to restore your levels naturally. But fixing a deficiency is not just about supplements. It is about changing your biology. Because when your vitamin D levels rise, your mood improves, your energy increases, and your muscles respond to training like they did years ago. But vitamin D is just one of the hidden deficiencies. There is another, one that is even more devastating to muscle health, and almost no one is talking about it. In fact, if you have ever felt constantly sore, tired after workouts, or unable to recover, you may already be affected. And if you do not correct it, no amount of protein or exercise will save your strength. It is one of the most overlooked minerals in the modern world, yet without it, muscle cannot function, nerves misfire, and recovery becomes almost impossible. I am talking about magnesium. This miracle mineral is involved in more than 300 biochemical reactions in the body. But when it comes to maintaining muscle mass after 40 years old, magnesium is absolutely critical. And here is the terrifying truth. Up to 80% of adults are deficient. How can that be? The answer lies in the soil. Over the past 70 years, industrial agriculture has stripped our soil of essential minerals. The produce you eat today contains a fraction of the magnesium it once did. Add to that the depletion caused by caffeine, alcohol, chronic stress, and pharmaceutical drugs like proton pump inhibitors, and your body becomes starved of the very mineral it needs to maintain structure and function. But how does this connect to flabby arms and muscle loss? Magnesium is essential for muscle contraction and relaxation. Without enough, your muscles stay tense and inflamed, leading to micro damage that does not heal. It is also essential for ATP production, the cellular energy that fuels every workout, every movement, every repair. Without it, you fatigue faster, you lose strength, you stop building. And yet this is happening silently. You may feel more tired, more anxious, more sore, but you never connect it back to magnesium. You think it is just part of getting older, but it is not. It is a correctable problem. The fix starts with food. Pumpkin seeds, dark leafy greens, avocados, almonds, and black beans are rich in magnesium, but food alone is rarely enough to restore levels. Supplementation becomes necessary, but not all forms are equal. Magnesium oxide, practically useless. The best forms for muscle support are magnesium glycinate, magnesium malate, and magnesium threonate. They absorb better, cause fewer digestive issues, and go where the body needs them most, into the cells. Take it in the evening to calm the nervous system, improve sleep, and allow overnight repair. Because muscle is not built during workouts, it is built while you rest. And without magnesium, that rest is shallow, restless, and unproductive. Now, here is where it gets even more important. Magnesium works hand in hand with vitamin D. If you do not have enough magnesium, your body cannot properly convert vitamin D into its active form. So even if you are supplementing, you may still be deficient where it counts. But when both are optimized, the results are profound. Strength returns, energy returns, and yes, your arms begin to firm up again. But this only works if you also eliminate one of the biggest daily mistakes people over 40 make. A mistake that blocks all your efforts to burn fat and build muscle. Let us talk about breakfast, the one meal that can either make or break your muscle-building potential. For decades, we were told that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. But what if I told you that the way most people eat breakfast is actually sabotaging their muscle and accelerating flab? Walk into any average kitchen in the morning and you will find cereals, muffins, toast, fruit juice, and coffee. It is a carbohydrate bomb. And here is the problem. After the age of 40, your insulin sensitivity starts to decline. This means your body is less able to handle large spikes in blood sugar. When you start your day with high carbohydrate meals, your insulin surges. That insulin spike signals the body to store fat and shut down fat burning. But worse, it blunts growth hormone, one of the key hormones that supports muscle retention and repair. The result? You feel sluggish, you crash before lunch, you lose lean mass and gain body fat, especially around the arms and belly. And it all started with a healthy breakfast. The solution is not to skip breakfast, it is to transform it. Your first meal should be rich in high-quality protein, healthy fats, and fiber. Think pasture-raised eggs cooked in ghee or grass-fed butter. Add a side of sauteed spinach or avocado, a scoop of collagen in your coffee, a small handful of walnuts. This kind of breakfast stabilizes your blood sugar, supports hormone balance, and feeds your muscles instead of your fat cells. You feel full longer, your cravings vanish, and your body stays in a fat-burning, muscle-sparing state for hours. And yet most people never make this shift. Why? Because habits are hard to break. But once you make the connection between what you eat at 7 o'clock in the morning and how you feel at 7 o'clock at night, you cannot unsee it. Breakfast becomes your ally. And when you do this consistently, you start to notice changes. Your energy feels steadier, your muscles feel firmer, your metabolism wakes up. This is how transformation begins, not with gimmicks, but with understanding, and breakfast is just the beginning, because now we move into something even more fascinating, a hidden signal in your body that tells your brain to preserve muscle or to let it go. And almost no one over the age of 40 is activating it properly. Let us talk about breakfast, the one meal that holds more power over your muscle health than you were ever told. For years, maybe decades, we believed that breakfast was the most important meal of the day, but no one warned us that eating it the wrong way, like most people do, could be silently destroying our muscle tissue and accelerating flab, especially after 40 years old. Step into any home at 7 o'clock in the morning and you will see the same scene: cereal, toast, muffins, fruit juice, sweetened coffee. It looks harmless, it feels familiar, but it is a metabolic trap, because after 40, your body changes, your insulin sensitivity drops, your ability to handle sugar fades. And when you eat a breakfast high in refined carbohydrates, your blood sugar surges. That spike triggers a flood of insulin, your fat storage hormone. In that moment, your body shuts off fat burning, stores excess glucose as fat, and worse, suppresses growth hormone, the very hormone that keeps your muscles firm, strong, and youthful. The result? You feel exhausted before lunch, your midsection softens, your arms lose tone, and you wonder what went wrong when all you had was a healthy breakfast. But here is the truth. It is not about skipping breakfast. It is about transforming it into a metabolic weapon. Your first meal should protect your muscle, stabilize your hormones, and train your body to burn fat, not store it. That means high-quality protein, like pasture-raised eggs, wild-caught salmon, or a scoop of clean collagen. It means healthy fats, like grass-fed butter, ghee, or avocado, to keep you satisfied and calm. Add fiber from vegetables like spinach or chia seeds, and suddenly your breakfast becomes a signal that tells your brain, build muscle, burn fat, stay strong. This kind of breakfast keeps your blood sugar stable, your energy even, and your appetite in check for hours. You stop craving sugar, you stop crashing mid-morning, and your body begins to reshape itself, gently, consistently, quietly. But why do most people never make this shift? Because they have been trapped in habits built on outdated science and food marketing. But once you experience the difference, once you connect what you eat at 7 in the morning with how you feel at 7 in the evening, you cannot go back. You wake up with purpose. You feel clearer, stronger, more resilient. This is how it begins. Not with fads or extremes, but with a single change that rewrites your body's script. But if you think that is powerful, wait until you learn about the hidden internal switch, a molecular messenger that determines whether your body clings to muscle or lets it waste away. And nearly everyone over 40 is failing to activate it. If I told you there was a substance more powerful than any supplement, more anabolic than most foods, and completely free, would you believe it? This substance is called deep restorative sleep. And if your arms are getting flabbier, your strength is declining, and your workouts are not producing the results they used to, this is the first place to look. Because without quality sleep, your body cannot recover, cannot build, and cannot hold onto muscle, no matter how perfect your diet is. During the first stages of deep sleep, your pituitary gland releases the highest surge of growth hormone in a 24-hour period. This hormone is essential for muscle regeneration, fat metabolism, skin health, and even mood. But if your sleep is fragmented, delayed, or shallow, this release is compromised. You wake up tired, inflamed, and catabolic, and you repeat this cycle for months or years until your muscle melts away and fat takes its place. Here is where it gets dangerous. Sleep quality naturally declines with age. After 40 years old, deep sleep can decrease by as much as 50%. And it is not just about getting older, it is about habits. Blue light from phones and televisions at night, caffeine, too late in the day, eating too close to bedtime, and exposure to chronic stress all interfere with melatonin production, the hormone that signals your body it is time to sleep and recover. But there is more. Cortisol, the stress hormone, rises when sleep is poor, and cortisol is directly muscle wasting. It tells the body to break down lean tissue to raise blood sugar. It is a survival response. And the more frequently it happens, the weaker and softer you become. So how do you reclaim sleep that builds muscle? First, set a non-negotiable bedtime before 11 o'clock at night. That is when your body naturally enters the deepest stages of recovery. Second, eliminate screens and artificial lights 90 minutes before bed. Read, stretch, take a warm bath with magnesium salts. Third, create total darkness in your bedroom. Even small amounts of light can disrupt melatonin. Fourth, keep your room cool, around 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Your core temperature must drop to initiate sleep. Finally, support your circadian rhythm with morning sunlight. Exposing your eyes and skin to natural light before 9:00 clock in the morning, resets your biological clock, and improves melatonin production at night. These small shifts, done consistently, change everything. They allow your body to release more growth hormone, repair muscle, reduce inflammation, and reset the very systems that govern strength. But most people will ignore this. They will chase pills, workouts, and diets, and wonder why nothing is working. Because without sleep, nothing sticks. But when you fix this, you unlock something extraordinary. And what happens next is something most people never expect, because they think it is too late. They think the damage is done, but that is not true. In fact, the next strategy has been shown to reverse years, even decades, of muscle loss in people over 60 years old. And it starts with a surprisingly simple action almost no one takes seriously enough. It begins with walking. Yes, walking. Not high-intensity interval training, not marathon running, just walking, daily, deliberate, and sustained. You see, after the age of 40, your nervous system begins to lose its efficiency. Your mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside your cells, decline in function. Your circulation weakens, your insulin sensitivity drops, and your body becomes more resistant to change. But walking reverses that. Quietly, powerfully, and profoundly. It improves mitochondrial biogenesis, increases blood flow to your muscles, enhances insulin sensitivity, and activates something called AMP-activated protein kinase. This is your cellular energy sensor. When activated, it tells your body, we are using energy. Stay strong. Do not let the muscles go. And the most fascinating part? Just 30 to 45 minutes a day of moderate-paced walking, preferably outdoors, preferably in the morning, can reset your metabolism and restore your capacity to build lean muscle. Yet most people ignore this. They sit all day at desks, in cars, on couches, and this silent stillness is deadly. It reduces blood flow to the limbs, lowers oxygen delivery to the muscles, and signals to the body that movement is no longer needed. The result? Atrophy, weakness, flabbiness. But walking does something else too. It supports the lymphatic system, the silent drainage network that removes waste from your tissues. Without it, inflammation builds, toxins linger, and recovery slows. Muscles need clean environments to grow. Walking cleans the internal terrain. And for women in particular, walking helps regulate estrogen metabolism, reduce cortisol, and balance the hormones most responsible for stubborn fat in the arms and thighs. But it has to be daily. That consistency is the message your body needs to hear. That you are still active, that the muscles must stay, that the regeneration should begin. And the beautiful part is this. You do not need equipment. You do not need to push to exhaustion. You just need a daily, consistent ritual that tells your body, I still need strength. Pair that with the protein pulses from earlier, the sleep strategies from before, and the removal of the toxic inflammatory foods we already discussed. And your biology changes. Your arms get firmer, your posture improves, your metabolic rate increases. But if only it ended there. There is still one more system we have not explored, one more area that, if left unchecked, can quietly destroy your capacity to ever build or maintain muscle again. It is not your hormones, it is not your exercise routine. It is something deeper, something in your gut, and once you understand it, everything changes. The gut, your second brain, your nutrient gateway, your immune command center, is also the hidden governor of your muscle health. While most people associate gut health with digestion, bloating, or immunity, the truth is far more urgent. Your microbiome directly influences how your body absorbs protein, regulates inflammation, and activates muscle-building hormones. And after 40 years old, the balance of that microbiome begins to shift. Quietly, dangerously, and often without symptoms at first. Beneficial bacteria that help synthesize amino acids like Bacteroides and Lactobacillus decline. Harmful strains that promote inflammation and leaky gut begin to take over. And when your gut barrier becomes compromised, even the healthiest foods leak particles into your bloodstream, triggering an immune response. That response? Systemic inflammation. And inflammation is catabolic. It breaks down tissue, blocks muscle repair, and suppresses growth hormone. That means your protein-rich breakfast, less absorbed, that high-quality supplement, less utilized. Your workouts, blunted by inflammation your gut quietly created, but there is hope. The first step is removing the silent gut saboteurs. Processed oils like soybean, corn, and canola devastate the intestinal lining. So do artificial sweeteners, emulsifiers, and preservatives found in so-called healthy snacks. Then there are the hidden antibiotics in factory-farmed meat and dairy. These wipe out microbial diversity, making your gut less resilient. Replacing these with grass-fed animal proteins, wild-caught fish, and organic vegetables can rapidly restore integrity to your microbiome. But food alone is not enough. You need to rebuild your gut lining and repopulate your microbial allies. This is where collagen comes in. Not just any collagen, but hydrolyzed collagen peptides taken on an empty stomach, ideally with vitamin C to enhance absorption. Collagen feeds the cells of your gut lining, helping to seal the barrier that prevents inflammation. Alongside this, fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, and unsweetened yogurt bring in live cultures that balance your internal terrain. And fiber, especially from root vegetables, flax seeds, and psyllium, feeds those bacteria, allowing them to flourish. Then the final step, slow chewing, mindfulness, and gratitude. Digestion begins in the mouth and in the mind. Rushed, distracted eating shuts down digestive enzymes. But slowing down, breathing deeply before meals, and chewing thoroughly activates parasympathetic tone, the rest and digesting state where your body can extract nutrients efficiently. When you combine all these pieces, the removal of inflammatory foods, the rebuilding of your gut lining, the repopulation of beneficial microbes, and the ritual of mindful eating, you repair the deepest root of flabby arms, poor absorption. Because the strongest body still needs raw materials. And no matter how perfect your habits may seem, if your gut cannot receive them, the results will be disappointing. But when you heal this, everything accelerates. You absorb more protein, you reduce chronic inflammation, you recover faster. You become stronger, leaner, and more vibrant, not just on the surface, but at the deepest level. This is how muscle is made. This is how you reverse decades of decline. And this is how you reclaim your vitality, even at 70, even at 80, even if you thought it was too late. The silent loss of strength, the creeping flabbiness, the fatigue you have felt. It is not aging. It is a warning, a signal that something deeper needs attention. But now you know, now you have the tools, and now it is your move. Your body can still recover, but only if you act today. Subscribe and begin the change.